Hi everyone, my name is Tamara, aka Lonely Winter, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Magnus Carlsen jeans incident at the World Rapid Championship. The reason that I'm making this video is because I got asked about my opinion on this situation a lot in the last couple of days in my stream. So when I went to look into the situation and do some research so that I can actually form an opinion, I found out so much more to the story than my viewers had even told me to begin with. I saw a need to put all of this information into one comprehensive video for you to also understand the full context of the situation. I do want to put a tiny disclaimer that I'm not going to make my YouTube channel into a chess drama channel where I chase every little trend to talk about. Really, I'm making this video because I find this situation fascinating and I'm really excited to tell you everything that I've learned. For anyone who cares, at the very end of the video, I will give you my personal opinion, but I'm going to try to keep it as factual as possible and not too biased. So the video will cover the full story of what happened, how it happened, why it happened, how everyone responded to it, and what the outcome is going to be. Questions such as what happened with the jeans, why didn't Magnus change, and why does this rule even exist, will be answered. Let's get into it. So the 2024 FIDE World Rapid Chess Championship in New York was started on the 26th of December, just a few days ago, and obviously Magnus Carlsen was playing in it. Magnus Carlsen is the best chess player in the world by rank and ELO, and he has won this tournament 5 times in the past. This is an event where the top chess players in the world compete in 13 rounds of rapid games against each other for a prize fund of over $500,000. It's a very high-profile event. It is organized by FIDE, which is the governing body of chess. Basically, they're in charge of most things chess. They're the only ones allowed to organize World Chess Championships and crown the title of World Chess Champion in multiple chess time controls and variants, such as Classical Blitz, Rapid, and even Fischer Random. Magnus Carlsen was having a rough tournament. He has won this tournament in the past 5 whole times, but this time around his statistics were not that great. His FIDE rapid rating is 2,838, but his performance rating in this tournament was 2,582. He had lost 20 points and everyone was saying that he was having draws against 2,500 nobodies, which is a bit much to say about a 2,500 GM. But sure, go off. After either the first or the second game of the tournament, he was approached by an arbiter, which is like the referee of chess, and he was told that he was in violation of the dress code. This was his outfit of the day. And this is the FIDE dress code. Clearly, jeans are prohibited, and the way in which they punish the player who breaks dress code is they give them a €200 fine, and also they are asked to change before the next round. Now, this is a rapid tournament, which means there are multiple rounds per day. So Magnus was asked to leave the tournament after the game, go and change, and come back in time for his next game. For example, in a classical tournament, if a player gets asked to change, since there's only one round a day, they play out their game and then they come back the next day, hopefully not breaking the dress code. What did Magnus do? I will show you through this clip from Take in his own words.
So I put on a shirt, a jacket, and honestly, I didn't even think about the jeans. And I even changed my shoes, but I didn't even think about it. I got here, I don't know if it was after the first game or second game, I don't remember. But I got a warning that I needed to change first of all, I got a fine, which is fine. And then I got a warning that I would not be paired if I didn't go change my...
Immediately.
Clothes? No. They said that I could do it after the 3rd round today. I said I'll change tomorrow if that's okay. I didn't even realize it today. They said, well, you have to change now, and at that point it became a bit of a matter of principle for me. Honestly, I'm too old at this point to care too much. If this is what they want to do, if this is, I guess it goes both ways, right? Nobody wants to back down, and this is where we are. It's fine by me. I'll probably head off to somewhere where the weather is a bit nicer than here. And yeah, that's it.
To reiterate, Magnus Carlsen agreed to pay the fine and said, okay, I accept that I have broken this rule and I will come back tomorrow in the appropriate dress code. However, the arbiter said, no, you have to change now in between your games. Otherwise, you will not be paired for the next game. You will not be able to play. At this point, Magnus decided that it was not worth it to him to play the next game if this was how he was going to be treated. And instead, he decided to withdraw from the tournament altogether. Now, even though this is far from where the story ends, we have to start introducing some new details to the context of the situation. The first question is, why did Magnus refuse to change? It seems simple, right? He knows he broke the rule, he knows he's in the wrong, so surely he's not just some arrogant guy who wants to come to the playing venue wearing whatever he wants, breaking the rules. Well, it seems like Magnus was pushed to his limits before the tournament even started. Let me explain. As we've noted, there's FIDE, the governing body of chess who organizes all the world championships and tournaments. Now, let me introduce you to Freestyle Chess. It's a company co-founded by Magnus Carlsen and a German entrepreneur Jan-Henrik Buettner to organize high-profile chess events focusing on a variation of chess called Fischer Random that we've touched upon briefly. It's set in attractive locations with the top chess players, and their mission is to appeal to a larger audience, to draw more people into being interested in chess and watching chess. It's meant to be a spectacle with huge money prizes for the players. Freestyle Chess is organizing 5 events in 2025, and I believe one of them is supposed to be a world championship of Fischer Random. It seems that FIDE had a big problem with this because if another organization can have a world championship, they can also have their own world champion of chess, which is a threat to FIDE and their market hold. Allegedly, they put pressure on some of the top chess players with behind-the-scenes conversation of, if you play in the freestyle chess tournament, you're not allowed in the FIDE tournament anymore. There is a video by Hikaru where he goes more into depth about this, but eventually Freestyle Chess came out with a statement that FIDE and Freestyle Chess reached an agreement and no players would be affected for playing in these freestyle chess events. There's a lot more to be said here about the FIDE versus other organizations, world champion titles, whether top players get paid enough, etc. However, our main takeaway is that Magnus's company was under a lot of pressure by FIDE. They reached an agreement, and then Magnus came to play the Rapid Championship, and they scolded him over jeans. You can now see the context. This whole issue doesn't seem to be just about the dress code violation, but there's a lot more details that need to be added. Number 1, earlier that day in the same tournament, Jan Nepomniachtchi, another top player in this tournament, was also in violation of dress code and he had to change and pay a fine. The issue with his attire was apparently that his sweater had writing on it, which is a problem for branding. This event has sponsors and players are only allowed to wear any logo or lettering of those sponsors. Now, obviously, this could have added pressure on the arbiters to make sure that no one is exception to the rule. Because if they have already fined and made someone change, and then another person also breaks the dress code, they can't really let them off because the first person would think that that's unfair. The second thing that we need to note is that FIDE CEO Emil Sutovsky stated that Magnus had plenty of time between games to change his clothing, but he refused out of principle.
We always wanted to have some sort of peaceful resolution to that, and unfortunately, like Magnus actually admitted himself, for him it became a matter of principle from some moment. It's not like he was not given enough time, it's not like he was told to change immediately. He did have a lot of time to go and to do so, and unfortunately he just decided that he wouldn't do so. The regulations are there. It's not just we are sticking to regulations. I hate this as sticking to regulations for the sake of regulations, but there is a reason why regulations are there. Once again, if we do impose certain conditions and certain rules and we impose fines on players, if Jan Nepomniachtchi has to go to hotel and change, why Magnus shouldn't do so?
So, like I said, Magnus offered to come back the next day in the right dress code, but he was not allowed to do that. He was told that he needs to go over to the hotel, which was very close in proximity, or have someone go over and get the pants, change, and continue the games. And there was no rush to do it. He had about an hour in between the games, so plenty of time. However, Magnus also stated that he didn't want to bother himself changing his pants in between games because he was trying to play chess that day. not worry about, I guess, outfits. Number 3, Hikaru Nakamura fully supports Magnus because he believes that this is a change that can only come when a situation like this occurs. No one gets together in between events to form a union and go to FIDE and say, we want the dress code to be more business casual. We don't want to be scolded for this anymore. And the last detail that I will add is that Hans Niemann was also interviewed, and he made comments about how Magnus orchestrated this whole situation to discredit FIDE and promote his own event. Anyways, what was the response of the public? This is very important because it blew up. This is a huge situation that everyone is talking about. The next day, all that everyone could talk about in the broadcast was jeans. There was emotes of jeans being sent. Just jeans, jeans, jeans. There is a very divisive opinion between the public. A lot of people believe that Magnus is arrogant for not obeying the rules that he agreed to follow. What is, in my opinion, majority of people think it's ridiculous that the best chess player in the world got kicked out of such a high-profile event over jeans. These are some of the responses that I found on the internet. So what are some of the problems with FIDE's decision? There are many big issues in the world of chess to focus on. While obviously they have to address the dress code at the tournament, they can't let anyone wear whatever they want. People can't just show up in sweatpants to a high-profile event. Everyone understands that. There is also sexual harassment and gender inequality, financial struggles for professional players, cheating and fair play issues, political sanctions and bans, accessibility for people with disabilities. In light of all these issues, a grandmaster wearing jeans instead of slacks seems like such a trivial matter, which brings me to my first point. What is dressy enough? While the FIDE guidebook states that jeans are generally prohibited, jeans can also be considered professional in certain environments or settings. It's not an item of clothing that is so inappropriate that it is absolutely imperative that the person must immediately change out of it. Secondly, the rules have to be followed is a very problematic statement. This opinion oversimplifies the situation without any context. Yes, Magnus did agree to follow rules at the tournament, and yes, there is a dress code that says no jeans. Dress code mishaps happen a lot. It's a very well-known thing. It's sometimes unfair, there's double standards, and women definitely get the worst end of it. It's an issue that goes unchecked unless a scandal breaks out, and then nothing happens about it again. Blindly adhering to rules is how we keep status quo. If there's going to be a change for the better when it comes to outdated or unjust regulations, it's more effective for someone to not comply in the moment than to comply until one of the big suits remembered to change the rule. The FIDE CEO states that the rules are a bit more strict for those who are on camera a lot, the top 20 players of this tournament. But this is what that looks like. The camera shows them waist up. Their legs are literally under the table. And there's also a million reporters around them in all sorts of attire that don't bring the same high-profile look to the event. Lastly, here's the biggest issue with the whole situation. The FIDE dress code exists to keep this game on a professional level and to keep players from coming into the playing venue wearing whatever and trivializing the game. But this is what they did with this whole incident. By not budging about the jeans, which no one cared about or noticed in the first place, they made a spectacle that they got ridiculed for, doing the exact thing that they're trying to fight against. It seems like a lack of critical thinking and seeing the bigger picture of what kind of image you are sending to the audience by enforcing the rules so strictly. So Magnus withdrew from the FIDE World Rapid, and he decided he would also not participate in the following Blitz Championship. Only a few hours before I sat down to make this video, Take broke news that Magnus will in fact be returning to the Blitz Championship as the conditions have changed. Magnus had a long conversation with FIDE president Arkady Dvorkovich, who seemed to be the only one truly willing to listen to him. Magnus stated stated that he is still not sure if he broke a rule, as it was always stated jeans are generally not allowed, which implies there is an exception to this rule. He chose to still stay and have a conversation about this because he truly wants to play Blitz and show chess fans a great time. So Dvorkovich and the main sponsor of the event talked to Magnus, and they agreed that Magnus is allowed to play in jeans. Magnus reiterates that the main thing that lacked with the whole discussion was critical thinking, common sense. He never meant to offend anyone with his outfit. He was business casual altogether and very respectable looking. And all the arbiters wanted off with his head because the rulebook says so. There's a 30-minute interview between Levy and Magnus on their channel that I truly recommend watching. If you care about Magnus's deep dive, he touches upon a lot of interesting topics. In the end, I told you I will tell you my personal opinion. I hope I provided as many facts in the video as I could fit and told the story in a coherent way. I didn't want to be biased, but to be perfectly honest, I don't agree with FIDE's decision to not let Magnus stay in his jeans that day. Yes, he could have changed, but he chose not to, and I think he had legitimate reasons not to. But more importantly, once they saw that he would not comply, I think they should have budged. Fine him with 200 euros, warn him for the next day, and leave it at that. If he comes back the next day wearing jeans again, sure, add another measure. I don't believe that Magnus Carlsen meant to disrespect chess by wearing those jeans. And I don't think he put much thought into it, let alone orchestrate the whole thing. So if the intention was not there, and no one cares that he's wearing jeans, why make an elephant out of a fly? Why tarnish the whole tournament, strip away from all the achievements of all the amazing chess players in the tournament, and basically make everything about the jeans instead of the chess? This doesn't serve the highest purpose of chess or the players or the viewers. I do think that it was important that this situation took place because it has set a precedent, and it shows that not everyone will always conform to the rules just because they are rules. Now, I'm hoping this is where the drama ends and that we will have a wonderful Blitz tournament to watch, and that Magnus will perform very well. I know he will be wearing jeans. But yes, that is the whole situation. What an interesting time. I hope you had some good takeaways from this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.